Hello and welcome to the Wendell Effect for the Indian markets. My name is Brandon Wendell and I'll be your guide to my view of the Indian markets for the week of 21st of May 2023. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just reminding you that we are not broker-dealers or investment advisors. We're going to take a look at this information from an educational standpoint only. Not telling you to buy or hold any particular securities, give any personalized recommendations. Past performance is no indication of future results. There's always risk in the markets. Please do not invest or trade with any money you cannot afford to lose. We're also not subject to trading restrictions, so we can have a position in a security or initiate one at any time. If you have any questions or feedback, you can email me at brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at TraderBDub. And if you wouldn't mind, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. That way you can also be notified for the future videos that we do here for the Wendell Effect. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and move myself around there. Anyway, last month was somewhat bullish with a few notable exceptions. You can see health technology looks pretty red there for the sector and some industrials as well, but overall pretty bullish. And looking at last week, it looks like we took a little bit of profits in the market. So a lot of red there for the week. We'll see if that's going to be continuing or not. Well, kicking us off for the Nifty, looking at the historical moves for the last 10 years, 70% of the time we've had a rally. Although last year we were somewhat negative. But the average return is not huge. You get a quick boost, it looks like, at the end of May, but then June just kind of fizzles out a little bit. So we'll see if that's going to continue. Oh, actually, what did I do there? That was 21st of June. Yeah, May 20. Oh, yeah, this is the hot spot right there. From the 21st of May to 7th of June, you get that nice little return of about 2.6% on average, 80% of the time. So again, we might get the little rally, but then fizzles out after the 7th. But looking at the weekly chart, you can see we're having a problem getting and closing above 60 on the RSI. We haven't put in a peak yet, so I can't call it as a failed rally yet, but we do have a lot less momentum than we had on the previous peak. And if we can't close a weekly chart above 60, that's a little bearish. So we've lost a little momentum. We might pick it up this week. Historically, we have. And looking at the daily chart, you can see we even had a little divergence. We made it up to almost to the 100% duplication of the previous impulse. We didn't make it to the measure move of the inverted head and shoulders I was talking about a while back. So Friday's candle was actually bullish. And so far, we're right near 60. This looks like this may just be a correction before we continue higher. So all we did was come back to the origin of that little rally right there. And it does look like we're going to try to push up a little bit more this week. On the 4-hour chart, you see we had that retracement, 38% retracement after a little divergence. So those are the warning signs you need to look for. When you see that price is moving, but the momentum is not, and it's happening here too. You made a lower low. I guess we made a little bit lower low, but I would have wanted to see more bearish momentum for that move. That means we might be ready to rally. But if you see this again, that's your signal that we're turning and topping. Anyway, looking at Reliance doesn't look so strong, but it also doesn't look so weak either. You can see we started pushing off the lows, had a nice rally up, and last week we pulled back, but it was just a correction. So it could possibly continue to pull back to this area of the origin of the rally, or it could just start from where we are now. We'll have to see how Monday starts off. If Monday starts off and breaks to a new high from Friday, then expect it to continue up at least to this 25.32 area. TCS is still bullish. It rallied, pulled back, rallied, deep pullback, but it didn't become bearish. We didn't put in a low. We put in a low above 40. So that's suggesting that we are going to move up this week towards the 33.30 target. On Infosys, again, not really much going on here. This looks like it's going to continue to drift a bit sideways this week. HDFC Bank on the daily chart also doesn't look very good. It just looks very choppy back and forth after, I guess it's way after earnings, but yeah, the big gap down, try to recover, and we are somewhat bullish, so we're not going to drop very fast this week, but we're also not likely to rally above, I think that's 1670 area. ICICI Bank looks like it's ready for a pullback. Now, this is not necessarily a divergence yet because we haven't put in a peak, but the fact that we made a new high without momentum behind it suggests we might get a pullback before we reach the 968 area. But ultimately, it's still bullish, does want to go up, might pull back first, giving you an opportunity to buy at a better price. Looking at the bank Nifty, speaking of banks, you can see over the last 10 years, it has been somewhat bullish 70% of the time. Not the best return. And again, same thing. The beginning of the move here from the 21st of May, almost to the end of May, it rallies and then goes sideways and down a little bit. So we'll see if that comes to fruition again. On the weekly chart, we did bounce off our weekly demand. We have exceeded the first target. We had already done it once. We're working our way up towards 46,800, but it may take a little bit of a pullback. We have a bullish candle here from last week. So if we do break the high of that, we should see a bullish week, but it may be a little choppy along the way. You can see on the daily chart, we're topping out a little bit, and I'm thinking we're going to correct at least to 43,000, possibly down towards the 38.2% correction point and that 42,000 level of demand. That would be a great buying point, by the way, for that weekly target of that 45,000 or so. Looking at the 4-hour chart, just confirming that this is just a pullback. We have lots of momentum, but it did die off just a bit for a pullback. So I'm looking for that correction as a buying opportunity. So we're going to follow up on some of the trade ideas I had. HDFC on the daily chart. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the entry on this. You can see it started to rally and just never came down to our entry. Maruti Suzuki only was supposed to be an entry until the 9th of June. We still have some time left, but this is also not participating. It's not pulling back for us. So unless it starts to very soon, we're probably not going to be able to get entry here either. You can see it did do that pullback a little bit, but it still hasn't hit our entry. We're running out of time. We have a couple weeks left, so we'll see how it comes down. If we hit that demand and the RSI is above 40, you're still okay to enter. But if you hit demand and you're below 40, do not enter long. Nestle India, we were also looking at this one only till the end of May. End of May, beginning of June. And as you can see, it was stalling out a little bit. It has continued to stall out and it's not dropping. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get in on this one. We have a lot less time for entry as well. So we have a couple new trade ideas to start following, and we'll take a look at REC LTD first. You can see on the weekly chart, we actually have weekly demand, lots of bullish pressure, but be careful of earnings. Or did they already come out? Actually, it already came out. We started suffering from the earnings there. You saw it coming down. We have a nice demand zone though, and this is looking like it's going to bounce. So again, got to keep it on the RSI below 40, no long. But if it's above 40, as we hit that demand, look for it to bounce. And I've got target number 1 here at 145 and target 2 at 155. NCC Limited, also on a weekly chart, even though it's pulling back, those are bullish candles with those bottom tails. We do have to be careful of the earnings coming up. It hasn't been released yet. So you see, we actually already hit demand, but you don't want to necessarily enter before the earnings come out. It can be very unpredictable. I'm looking to see if when earnings come out, we bounce off that demand again, maybe a little deeper for a possible long opportunity. This is one of my 889 trading strategies, which I've been talking about quite a bit in my courses. You can email me if you want some more information about that and how to learn more about that. But NHPC Limited, you can see there's a nice daily demand here where we broke out pretty well to the upside. So if we can pull back and again, stay above 40 on the RSI, keep an eye out. Earnings are coming up. So you may want to wait until earnings are released. Hopefully that drives price into demand and gives you that big bounce. And you can see the targets at 49 and also 52.50. Another 889 is Electcast, Electro Steel Cast on the daily chart. We are pulling back. It's still bearish there with the topping tails. That's bearish pressure. And it was after the earnings. So if we can drift down to 39.60, 40.75, lots of buying pressure there to be able to go long, putting the stop below and targeting those projections at 50.50 and 56.50. Bharat Electronics, we have BEL. Again, waiting for a bit of a pullback here with the earnings release. Keep an eye out for that momentum. If it gets below 40, you don't want to buy on the RSI. But on the daily chart, this is lots of bullish momentum that should take us kind of overlapping on 2 Fibonacci extensions, targeting that one just under 114 and around 121.5. Anyway, that's what I got for you this week. If you got any questions, please send me an email, brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter @TraderBDub. I've been tweeting about the Nifty as well recently. And if you could hit the like and subscribe button to go ahead and stay in touch with me and let me know you're following and watching the videos. You can also hit the alerts to be notified when new videos come out. I want to thank you for supporting me and the Wendell Effect. Until next time, trade safe, trade well, and take care, everyone.